Have you ever wondered how Africa's relationship with its colonizers began? Let's take a step back to the late 19th century, an era known as the Scramble for Africa. During this time, imperial powers from Europe united in a bid to occupy the vast lands of the African continent. Liberia and Ethiopia stood as the lone exceptions, maintaining their independence amidst the encroaching colonial tide. Liberia, a nation settled by African Americans, held on to its freedom, as did Ethiopia, a bastion of Orthodox Christianity. Yet the rest of the continent wasn't as fortunate. The majority of Africa fell under the shadow of colonial rule, a period that extended its grip well past the end of the Second World War. So the stage was set for colonial rule, a period that would last until after the Second World War. How did the winds of independence begin to blow across the African continent? In the aftermath of World War II, the African continent started to shift. The winds of change began to stir, and the seeds of independence were sown. As the major European powers weakened, the momentum of independence movements in Africa accelerated. Take Libya, for instance. Once an Italian colony, Libya claimed its independence in 1951. Hot on its heels, Tunisia and Morocco shook off the shackles of French rule in 1956. In the same year, Sudan stepped out from under the shadow of the United Kingdom. The following year, Ghana made history. This nation became the first sub-Saharan African colony to walk the path of independence. Throughout the next decade, most of the continent would follow suit, claiming independence through mostly peaceful means. But it was not a peaceful journey for all. Egypt and Algeria had to wade through violent conflict to reach the shores of independence. And while South Africa was among the first to gain independence, it remained under the rule of white settlers until 1994, in what was known as the Apartheid Agreement. Thus, while the colonizers physically left African lands, their influence remained. The winds of independence had swept across Africa, but the echoes of colonial rule continued to resonate, shaping the continent in ways that are still felt today. What does revolution mean, especially in the context of international relations? It's a question worth pondering. In the grand scheme of things, the revolutionary state holds a unique position. Its influence extends far beyond its borders, affecting external behavior and even causing ripples in the international system. Revolutionary states often disrupt the status quo, but here's the thing: the international system, ever adaptive, has always sought ways to tame these revolutionary states. Once a revolutionary group takes power, the system gradually coerces them to act as a conventional state within the global framework. Interestingly, though revolutions aren't the primary cause of international conflict, they do seem to be a catalyst for wars. Countries that have experienced regime change through revolution have twice the likelihood of experiencing war compared to countries where change occurs through the political process. This pattern begs the question, why does this happen? Are revolutions inherently prone to conflict? Or is the international system ill-equipped to handle the radical changes they bring? These are complex questions with no straightforward answers. Revolution, as a concept, embodies change, progress, and a break from the past. But as we delve deeper into the dialectics of revolution, we find that the journey towards these ideals is often fraught with conflict. It seems that the path to revolution is not always peaceful. Why do wars happen in the post-independence era? A question that has perplexed many a mind. Let's delve into it. In the world of international relations, states are like actors on a stage. Their primary aim, survival. There's no overarching authority to shield them, so they must fend for themselves. The policies they adopt mirror this instinct for self-preservation, with security taking center stage. Now, imagine a delicate balance of power, a seesaw if you will. Each state seeks to tip the scales in their favor without inciting the ire of others. They strive to bolster their clout or undermine the strength of others, all while maintaining this precarious balance. But what happens when this balance is disrupted? Wars. They erupt when power imbalances are exploited or when miscalculations about the state of play occur. A country might think the balance of power favors them and make bold moves that spark conflict. So we see that the post-independence era is not just about newfound freedom. It's a complex dance of power dynamics and strategic calculations where missteps can lead to devastating wars. As we can see, the journey from colonial rule to independence was fraught with challenges, and the post-independence era brought its own set of complexities.